Hello everyone, this is Jason with Backroad Adventures, and I wanted to do a little bit more in-depth tutorial about Gaia GPS because I believe as you go out and run these routes, having a good mapping software and not just trying to use Google Maps or something like that will be beneficial to you. As a lot of places there's little to no cell reception, so you need something that you can preload these maps on and these routes so that you can be more successful in following the route, not getting lost or confused. So I just wanted to go over the basics, and this is the paid membership, and we are affiliates with Gaia GPS, so we have an affiliate link. It'll be in the description of this video, plus you can go to our website at backroadadventures.net and click on one of the affiliate links there as well. But we notice a lot of overlanders use this program, and we like it as well because of all the many features it has. So we're just going to kind of walk through the various basics of this so that if you decide to use Gaia GPS, then you'll have a better understanding of how it works and such. But obviously, when you go to GaiaGPS.com, you'll log into your account. This is the main map, or if you click on Explore the Map, this is what comes up. And of course, if you're on a computer, you can just drag it up or down, left or right. I can use my wheel on my mouse to scroll in and scroll out. The more you scroll in, the more detail comes up on the map. You can also, obviously, plus and minus to scroll in and scroll out as well. If you are on a mobile device or a device that has GPS, if you click this button, it will take you to your location on the map. I'm using on my desktop right now, so that feature won't work. This icon here is your layers and overlay. So we'll dive into this, and this is where you can select your maps. If you are doing the free version, you're not going to have as many maps, but there's still quite a few to pick from. The paid version, there are numerous maps. And so these are ones I have preloaded. But if you go down here and select Add Map Layers, because if you've just signed up, you probably won't see all these. So go to Add Map Layers, and now you've just got maybe hundreds to pick from. Historic map from 1900s, 1930s, National Park System Visitor Map, Nat Geo Appalachians Trail. So all kinds, especially if you want to, explore national parks and such, you've got all these different maps. If you click on it, it adds it to your map layers, which you saw mine there initially. You can see I have this one added. I have this one added. But you can go through, look at all these different maps, depending upon what you're doing. The one you may like best for what you're doing. If you're in Canada, ton of maps. Europe, Australia. Here's some satellite imagery maps, topographical maps. So we do have several of those. I like the outdoors is the one I primarily use. Gaia Topo is pretty good, but a topo map, for those who don't know, is going to show you elevation lines. So as you can see, there's a river here. So there's no lines right here. That's kind of the river bottom. But as you go up these lines, you go up in elevation. The closer the lines are together, the steeper that is. So as you can see here, this is kind of a gentle going up, and you'd be kind of going up a little valley here. And here, this is steeper. Maybe not quite a bluff, but much steeper to try to get up. So as you're planning your route, especially if you're hiking, you may want a topo map. Road maps. These are a little bit more, I think, for like cities and towns. Some really cool features here. Shows you prediction of air quality, bedrock, cell phone coverage, light pollution. If you're a photographer, that might be really handy if you want to go out and do some night astrophotography to know a good dark place to do that. Motor vehicle routes. These are really good if you're off-roading 4x4 to show you where the forestry roads and the routes that motor vehicles are allowed. However, This does not tell you if they're open or closed. The National Park Service may at times close a road, and they don't necessarily put signs up to indicate it's closed. So if you go to our website under resources, or you go to the National Park Service website, there are official open and closed routes there. So you always want to check those before you go off-roading. Some of the other weather overlays. We've got precipitation forecast 24 hours, 48 hours, and 72 hours. So many of our routes take you over low water crossings, along creek beds. They are county roads, but there's a chance that if there's been rain or there's going to be rain, that those could easily flood and get washed out, even though they're county roads. So you may want to really watch weather as you're going out there. Private land, public land, those are good to know. Private owned by individuals versus public land owned by the state or National Park Force. And it just goes on and on. Snow forecast, wilderness areas, wildfires. So here's some hunting overlays for those who are hunting. Tons of maps there. So anyway, as you find a map that you want to add to your maps, you just add it to your maps and click it, and then you go back and as you see, these are maps I have added. Now what's nice about Gaia is you can actually overlay maps and use them together. So right now I just have the Gaia topo map up, but occasionally I'll do maybe so this is satellite imagery, and this can be beneficial as well. And this particular satellite also has the topographical overlay on it, which could be very helpful, again, to kind of visualize what we were just looking at. Here's the river valley. Here's where it goes steep up the hill. And then here is where it's more gentle rolling kind of up the hills. But as you see, we can, since this satellite topo is on top of Gaia and it's at 100%, all you see is the topo map. If we want, we can bring that opacity down to 50%. And now you can overlay the Gaia map, or you can drop it way down so you mostly see the Gaia map, and now you can still see just a little bit of that topo map underneath it. So that's could be beneficial at times if you're doing these maybe the more off-roading, and you want to see, and you can see that's just down here. When you get into the National Park Forest, this is just for this particular area. Get down here to the Glade Top Trail area. It's going to show you some of the motor vehicle routes down here, but you may want that overlaid on top of the satellite to give you just a little better idea of are you going to be in trees, are you going to be in open fields. So we can back that off a little bit, and now we see the satellite imagery with the motor vehicle routes overlaid on top of it. And you can turn those off or on as well. So that's maps. I'm going to go back and I'll turn this off, and we'll just go back to Gaia, and we'll keep it up for now. So that's maps. Next folder is where you have different routes and tracks stored if you want to see them. And the difference between a route and a track, they are both in here, and it takes a little understanding of the difference between the both. But a route is something you design, and maybe a route that you want to go follow. So you actually use Gaia to go in and plan a route, and then you go out and drive that route. A track is, just think of you're walking in the snow and you're leaving tracks behind. A track is something that you've recorded and actually driven or walked using the map, and you've left a track on the map. So a little bit of difference in there. We'll get into that in a little bit more detail. But just an idea here, I've got everything turned off, but if I want to see that Glade Top Trail route, I'll turn it on. and then it shows up on the map. So this is what we would use. We would plan our route using Gaia, and then basically once we get to the starting point, we have that up on the map, and then we just follow the line and we know where we're going. So it does show your elevation along the route at the mile marker and kind of give you an idea of if it's going to be up and down or steep or a more gentle route. So you can turn those different routes and tracks on or off. So right now I currently have this little toggle switch here. So I have this filtered to routes only. So I'm going to turn tracks on. So a track, again, is something that we've actually driven. I want to find, I'll just use this track here. We'll turn it on, add it to the map here. So here's just kind of a back road route that I did, playing with it. And so now we've got it on here. This is actually a track that I drove. So if we go back down here, we could rename this, whatever we wanted to rename it. We could make it a different color. If we go to the More tab, we can open this in the Details page. And it's going to tell us on January 9th. I currently have this as a private track, so it doesn't show up out on the website for everybody to see. You can add photos associated with this track. You can add notes to this track. But if you do a route, it shows you the elevation. But if you do a track, it's also going to show you that elevation plus your speed. So you can kind of see how fast you are going and averaging over a track. Down here it tells you this is a 32 mile. It took me 1 hour to do it at an average pace of 2 minutes a mile. And then you've got other, total time. I stopped for 3 minutes, moving speed, average speed, and then how far of an ascent or descent that route took you over. So some great information there. You can share these routes on social media, get a link to this particular route to share with people. And that's how we're putting these routes out for you all to follow, is using Gaia. We'll go back to the map and continue on down. Again, folders here. You can turn different routes on or off. Waypoints even. We'll show you some waypoints. So here you can add waypoints. So here's a waypoint. Again, this is the Glade Top Trail. Here is a scenic view. So this is one that I've put in here as we're planning one of our upcoming routes. Again, once you've got that our waypoint on there, you can give it a label if you want to stand it out. And then just like you had a routes page, you can go to Open Details page, and you could add a photo for that route, for that waypoint, add some notes to that. If you go back, click on that route again. If you needed to, under More, you could move that route around and relocate it a little bit and hit save. And then it also gives you that GPS coordinates and the elevation of it. So back here in folders, again, this is just a great place to find and turn on your different waypoints, routes, tracks, and such. All right, we're going to move settings. Just some basic settings here you can pick from. Print. Here's where you can create a waypoint. So if we knew, maybe we saw something really interesting, or I took a picture right here and I wanted to note where that was. Click on that waypoint. It comes up, and drop it there. Hit save. Once you hit save, you can now label it, change the icon, add some notes, etc. And again, if you go to the More page, Open Details page, you can even add photos to that particular waypoint. And then here's where you get into planning a route. We'll show you that real quick. So we click on Plan a Route. And let's just say, for argument's sake, we're just going to start right here. So I'm going to click that. And then as you can go down here, and is this a hiking trail, driving trail, or what you're doing? But now we want to say, okay, we want to follow this road up to here. So if I click there, it automatically overlays that. And now we want to drop down here. So typically I'll click at most intersections just to make sure it kind of locks in. And then we just begin planning our route, how we want to go. Once you got that route, if you're like, like I'll show you if maybe I wanted to go my route all the way down here, up and over, but I click right here and it took me a different way. I didn't want to go that way. So I can go back up and I can grab this and I can reset it. So I'll set it here, then I'll set it here, and that way I'm kind of telling it where I want that route to go. I can go up here and say, you know what, I really wanted to do something different. I think I'm going to move this. I'm going to go up here instead. So now it reroutes that. And as you can see, it's giving me my total distance as we go, some elevation as we go. So if I like that, that's the route I want to take. I want to hit save. And now again, we can title it. We can change colors of it, add some notes, and it is now a route. So we will title it Test Route. And now we have a route. So when we're out driving, this will sync up to your account. So then if you pull up the app on your phone, it should show up on there. So you just want to check that before you leave the house and make sure that gets loaded. You can define an area. We don't use this, but you may want to highlight something and say, hey, this is our area we're staying in and hiking today. And then you can import data as well. So if you have a GPS file, KML file, you can import those as well from other programs or other people. Over here under Backroad Adventures, you would have your name. You can also go to your tracks, photos, maps, map sources. So a lot of that we've already kind of looked at, but if you click on tracks, this kind of has everything listed, and this is where you can go in and start organizing. So you can click on one, and if you want to have a folder, you can move that to a folder. So you can see we've got a couple folders here. You can add a folder. So here's one that just says test tracks. We'll add it to that folder. So then if you go back over here and go to your folders, you'll see we have various folders here. Here's that test track folder. And this shows everything we've added to that particular folder, which I just have one route. I'll show you this folder here that we're putting together for River Run 2 that we just filmed. And we're editing that video now. Here I have the route that we took. I'm beginning to add waypoints to that route. So if I missed anything, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I think that's the basics that'll get you started in using. I think the main thing is just learning the difference between routes and tracks. And then we'll do another video that dives into a little bit more about how to pull the routes and tracks off of our website so that you can use those and then download maps as well. So be looking for that other video. We'll link to it in the descriptions. Thanks for watching the video, and thanks for being a part of Backroad Adventures. Have a great day.